Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? Appreciate you joining us here on our emergency podcast as the breaking news, Kyrie Irving has suffered a torn ACL and is done for the rest of the regular season, according to multiple reports, as we here on DLLS Mavs react to the breaking news with Kyrie Irving. Kevin Gray, of course, here of DLLS Mavs with our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, our Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella, as Kyrie Irving, who was an all-star this year for the Western Conference, averaging nearly 25 points per game, left last night's game against the Sacramento Kings with 2:35 left in the first quarter, hit 2 free throws but did not return. Initially diagnosed as a left knee sprain, but the news coming in as of about a half hour ago that Kyrie Irving has indeed suffered a torn ACL. Let's react here. We will have our regular show coming up at 1 o'clock a little bit later on this afternoon. But Tim, we'll start with you as the Mavericks continue to suffer just terrible injury news throughout the course of the year. Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, now the latest in this particular season.
It sucks. It really, really, really sucks. 8 months ago, this team was in the NBA Finals. All 5 players who, started those games are injured or not with the team. We knew Kyrie Irving's injury was going to be serious, but everybody was pretty much hoping that it was not the worst case scenario. He had been so good this season. He had been the leader in the locker room. He had been great on and off the court. This was a, just masterful final chapter of his career. And now he's facing 8 to 12 months of recovery. That affects what Dallas is going to do this summer. That affects how they have to go into next season. That affects the team's short-term timeline that they chose, that Nico Harrison chose for the team. The season is over this year. There's no question about that. If Dallas, for some reason, and really it won't be about Dallas, it will be about the teams behind them. If the 2 teams behind them, the surging Trailblazers or the Phoenix Suns, who have, I believe, the most difficult and the third most difficult strength of schedules remaining, neither of those teams are competent enough to go and pass Dallas. First off, that's embarrassing. But second of all, the scenario where Dallas is the 10 team doesn't matter. The season is over. Without Kyrie Irving, it doesn't matter if you get your big men back. And at this point, there's no reason to bring them back. But even if they were to come back, it does not matter. The season is over. And it's devastating. It's not entirely unpredictable. Kyrie Irving, for the last 6 weeks, had averaged the most minutes in the league. And at some point, I had heard concerns, floated that you can't play this guy this many minutes and expect something not to happen. Nobody expected this. This injury was, a contact injury that, non-contact, but, caused by contact, caused by a bump. It happened, but it just sucks. They were running him into the ground, and now he's out for the year, and this team's future just is so much bleaker now.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, it's awful. Tim kind of gave the whole perspective there. It just sucks really bad.
I should have left something for you.
No, you're good. You're good. The organization hasn't given us anything either, so we're all kind of wallowing in just like, it's complete and utter despair. Kyrie was, a great soldier throughout this entire just fiasco. The team was playing so hard after the trade, despite, fans literally protesting within and outside of the arena. And the general manager and the ownership creating all sorts of ill will, between the franchise and the fans. But you would never know it by watching the team play. Kyrie was giving literally everything he had, and the team was following suit. And then, for this to happen, it's just like one more gut punch. I think you're right, Tim. I mean, whenever the injury happened, it's like, okay, the season is probably over, but like maybe it's not that bad. Like maybe he would just miss a few weeks and it'll just be a precaution thing. And then you go in the summer and, he's going to be fine. But now it's like, is he going to be available for opening night next year? Is he going to be available for Christmas, by Christmas?
Will he play this calendar year is the,
I
think the
important question. I don't know. I really don't know. And, Tim, like you said, like if the stated timeline is 3 years and this season is already doomed and you might play half or more than half of next season without him, and he's going to be a year older, and that's if you even re-sign him or figure out his contract situation. Like, the Mavs traded Luka to try and avoid an uncomfortable summer. Well, I got news for you, man. I don't think they will ever have a more uncomfortable summer than what they're about to do here in a couple months.
Nico Harrison said that they traded away Luka Doncic in part to avoid a tumultuous summer. There will be no more tumultuous summer than what's coming in the next few months. You started to mention it. Kyrie Irving has a $43 million player option this coming summer. Kyrie Irving will also turn 33 here in the next few weeks as well. Anthony Davis will be turning 32 here in the next week. Klay Thompson's already turned 35 in this NBA season. This team has gotten older very quickly and has now about to deal with a significant injury with Kyrie Irving. And this is still with the backdrop of what is coming in 2 days with the evaluations of Derek Lively II, Anthony Davis, and Daniel Gafford. And this team right now, and Tim, you mentioned it, there is no reason to rush any of these individuals back this season. No matter how it plays out, they'll probably bump into the 10th seed just because the two teams behind them have had such poor seasons, even with Portland.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Like this is very quickly headed into a situation. I mean, Dallas's best player last night was Kai Jones, who was signed the same day.
On a two-way.
It's not tanking. It's not tanking. This is not a good team. This is a horrific, this is not a team constructed to win basketball games right now. There may not be a lot of wins in the very near future. There may be no wins.
No, I agree. And this is also with the idea of PJ Washington, who continues to deal with the right ankle sprain of his own. So I am of the belief, in my humble opinion, is that it's time to shut it down for the rest of the regular season. Whatever these individuals need to do to get healthy as quickly as possible to start to try to look forward to what's coming into the 25-26 season. That process needs to begin now. And the unfortunate
KG, it began 2 months ago.
Well, I mean, I'm saying no. I mean, this team was still trying to, keep a timeline open this season with Kyrie Irving leading the charge. That now is over with Kyrie Irving being done for the rest of the regular season. So we are at the official point of it's time to shut everyone down and start to try to get something going for the 25-26 season to give you some kind of chance going into next year, because the way that the summer could be looking, and this is also with the idea that there may be changes coming with this roster even this summer with the, how we may feel about the pursuit potentially Kevin Durant for this team. So,
and if you're Dallas, if you're the people who made this decision, I'm sure that, Nico Harrison still wants Anthony Davis to come back, to get back on the court if at all possible, just to salvage some level of PR for this trade. But there's no reason for Anthony Davis to come back to a team that doesn't have Kyrie Irving, to a team that is at best going to be a 9th or 10th seed in the play-in tournament. There's no reason for Anthony Davis to do that. So that's why, even more so, we'll see. It's not, out of the three big men, that is the only one that might play this regular season, I think, in all likelihood at this point. But I don't see what his motivation would be. And, knowing that Kyrie is not going to be available. And again, I mean, I said it, then you said it, Bobby. And the hope was that even though this was obviously going to be a serious knee injury, that it wasn't an ACL. But the fact that it's an ACL, the fact that it, for a, small guard who's in his early 30s, this might be the long-term 12-month timeline, which means they might have to play into the All-Star break next year without Kyrie.
Whew. Oh,
and
my gosh.
That completely just changes everything. It changes your ability to, prepare. You have to prepare basically two teams. You've got to prepare a team to win enough regular season games without Kyrie for most of the season. Obviously, the presumption here is that he will opt into his contract or opt out and re-sign with Dallas. And right now I'm just presuming that, but we don't even know that. I mean, it's possible this could have ramifications in terms of, Kyrie's desire to remain in Dallas. Again, a lot to kind of work through and think through and report on and, start to figure out here in the coming days. But this is what is so devastating for this goes far beyond this season ending, because the season is ended and it's the ramifications that go beyond that is so just crippling to this team.
Yeah, and once again,
franchise.
Giant gut punch to the fans too, because the Mavs were in the finals last year, presumably this close to winning a championship, and then they maybe get better in the offseason and we're like, yeah, they're going to do it this year. And then they make the trade. Luka is this close to being the best player of the generation. Well, he's not here anymore, and he was this close from coming back from injury, and then they traded him. And then AD was this close to having a 40-20-10 game in his team debut, and then he got hurt. And then the Mavs were this close to making a push for the 6th seed because no other team in the West can win a game right now. And then this happens. Every single time you are this close to something good happening, somehow the universe finds a way to just completely punish you. This is the most basketball nihilism I've ever felt. This is just it really feels like being smited by the gods. Someone must have done something really, 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 really bad.
I could tell you who it was, and I'll have more on this when we get to our show later on today. And I'll tell you who it was. He's the Mavericks president and general manager, and his name is Nico Harrison. The basketball guys have decided you cannot treat people like this on the way out the door. I don't care of the reasonings that they gave in trading Luka Doncic away, BS reasons, in my humble opinion. And the way that this team has handled it on the way out the door, sports-wise, let me be very clear. Sports-wise, this organization has known no peace since February 1st at 11:12 p.m. Central Standard Time on February 1st. None. And unfortunately, this is the latest when it comes to that. And it is unfortunate for Mavericks fans who love this team and have watched a general manager torpedo a franchise with one move that has completely changed the trajectory of this franchise for a minimum, in my humble opinion, for the next 5 years. That is what we are looking at least based on what has happened so far. Henry Diesel 23 with the $10 super chat. Growing up playing 2K since AI and Ben Wallace on the 2K cover, haven't felt joy watching the game like when Kai entered the league. Been watching him since the McDonald's High School All-American game. Is this Kai's last game in Dallas?
I hope not.
I certainly hope not.
It is so much fun watching that guy play. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And
stood up there and made 2 free throws on a torn ACL. That is the lasting image that we will have of Kyrie Irving this season, him standing up there at the free throw line with MVP chance raining down on him as he is standing up there making 2 free throws before exiting last night's game against Sacramento.
Yeah, just commend and applaud that man for being the most notable bright spot, the biggest bright spot this season. Someone who is just a joy to watch play basketball. The creativity, the ingenuity, the resiliency, the toughness. I am excited for when we get to see Kyrie Irving play basketball again. And it's way too early to know whether that will be in Dallas or not. I mean, as of right now, I would think so, but way too early to know for sure. But just a devastating injury for him and for the sport of basketball.
The breaking news, Kyrie Irving suffering a torn ACL in last night's game against the Sacramento Kings, leaving that game with 2:35 left in the first quarter. We will have more on this on our DLLS Mavs podcast coming at 1 p.m. on DLLS Sports. Myself, Tim Cato, and Bobby Curler will be breaking all of it down with the latest when it comes to this injury for Kyrie Irving. We appreciate all of you joining us here on our DLLS Mavs Emergency Podcast as well. Join us again later on this afternoon at 1 p.m. on DLLS Sports. I got to read this real quick. $4.99 super chat. Katie may not want to come because use of injury. What happens if the Adelson's land doesn't get rezoned next week? We'll discuss that on our podcast at 1 o'clock.
I won't shed a single tear for those people for the rest of my life.
We appreciate you joining us here. We'll talk to you at 1 p.m. on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.